Okay, so if you've been following my nutrition videos from the first of the year, you'll remember that what I've been talking about is using MyFitnessPal, monitoring your diet and nutrition side of it. Now again, this is very, very important because it's going to be 75 to 80% of all the results you're going to get when you're involved in an exercise program and you're trying to change the way you look, the way you feel, and that type of thing. Now, what's going to be important now is we're going to focus on the carbohydrates, the proteins, and the fats. These are what are called macronutrients. The most important is the fat. Our diets should consist of 25 to 30% fat. Now, if you think about this, it totally makes sense. Fat is the energy source that we utilize when we're at rest. So when we're sleeping at night, we're predominantly burning body fat. So it's very, very important to have that readily available. Based on the fact that we typically are sleeping 7 to 8 hours a day, that makes up 25 to 30% of our daily life. So again, 25 to 30%. This is pretty much a given. Everybody agrees on this. So this is not one of those things that's like, oh, do this, do that. We do have some schools of thought, like with the keto type diet, where you really pump up those levels of fat up to 70%. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about the average person and how you're going to get through life on a regular basis. So now that leaves us with the protein and the carbohydrates. Now those two, I feel it's more important to focus on the protein. We need to make sure we take in enough protein. If you're working out, you should be taking in the range of about 1.2 grams up to 2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. So you're going to have to do some conversion there to figure that out. Just take your body weight divided by 2.2, that'll give you the number of kilograms, and then figure out how many grams of protein you need to take in. Now here's where it gets a little bit more tricky. If you're somebody that's more on that endurance side and you're really not looking to build a lot of muscle, but you just need to have that protein for the recovery and the rebuilding of the muscle that you're working and the processes in the body that need that protein, you're going to be on the lines of that 1.2. If you're a little bit more active, you may be around 1.4. If you're really looking to build muscle and you're putting a lot of high intensity work in, you're going to push that up closer to that 2 grams per kilogram of body weight. So you got to kind of decide that. You got to see where you fit along that spectrum. One thing also to keep in mind is that as we age, when we're 50 and older, our bodies don't assimilate protein quite as well. So we do need to take in a little bit more. Typically, I suggest 1 to 2 tenths of a gram per kilogram of body weight more if you're in that age group. So look at those numbers and figure that out. Now carbohydrates then become simple. That makes up the remainder of our diet. So if we first start with the fats and we look at 25 to 30%, we know how many calories we should be taking in per day. We can figure out how many grams of fat we should take in. Now keep in mind that fat is 9 calories per gram. So you want to do that computation and figure that out, how many grams of fat to take in. Now I just explained to you the formula for the protein. So the protein is going to be based on your body weight, based on your activity level. So again, grams per kilogram of protein. Protein is 4 calories per gram. So now we have that number. And then whatever's left over becomes the carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are important for energy. They're important to keep us going through the active part of our day. So very, very important. I typically try to stay away from carbohydrates later in the evening because, again, I want to burn up most of those that I've stored over the course of the day so that then at night I get into that fat burning mode and really, really maximize my nutrition. Now, if you have any specific questions or anything more I can help you out with, don't hesitate to send me an email. The email will be listed at the end of this video.